So can we use, 802 funds for that as well?
For Michigan,
Michigan
if you have enough, yeah, you could.
So we can do both. We can do 802, which is the current TIF dollars, and then pending it going into the resolution and it will pass, we can use the additional Honda TIFs, or both TIFs,
That $1 million a year.
to pay for this. So we would have the initial
So you need to get
preliminary cost.
you need to
out
get
of
from
this.
here to 2023.
Yeah, and then at that point, we'd have $1 million a year on that. So we wouldn't necessarily need another bond.
In the extra $1.5 million, that's 2023 or 2022?
3, we get it to 22 it is, right, Chris? Yeah, so 22 it is.
22 is committed.
Committed, yeah.
But we really be looking at doing nothing else between 2023 and 2025.
Only 2023 and 2030, 2 or 33.
When Honda sunsets.
Yeah, the Honda sunset, so we would have 10 years, 9 or 10 years, I forget what it is.
I think I heard Jody's question be, are you gonna spend everything you got on
Yeah,
this
that was my
project?
question. Not going
That's
forward
gonna be like
budget,
10, that's gonna be like $10 million we're gonna get during that time period.
but not in like 1 year, so you know, we
No.
pay for it solidly without getting.
Your cash flow critical period will be until 2023.
In the 2-year period, we'll get $3 million after we pay our $500,000 off every year. And we're looking at a $2.9 million payoff for phase 2. So
That's a drawdown.
That's a bond.
That's a bond draw.
That can be done on the bond,
That's all.
on the current bond.
No, I already took the bond out. That was the $500,000 I subtracted.
No.
From the Honda money and the TIF we already put in.
You may draw additional funds off the draw bond to finish paying for Veterans Way.
Yes. We should. So we're not in a cash trap situation like we are right now. Where we paid it before out of our 802 instead of from the draw. That's what's happening. That's what we find.
I think we might express our question in the same way.
Yeah, I think we pretty much would just be Veterans Way and this, and that'd be
For 3 years.
I mean, right now, we're looking at 5.
So we have, so by the end of 2025, we'll have received about $6 million, and that doesn't include the $500,000 bond payment, it doesn't include the $1 million going to the, or the $500,000 going to the water.
We're on seat 6. Is that what you said?
We're gonna have now.
Well, you put $1.5 million for 3 years to the water plant, didn't you? Put everything to the water plant once. No. You put $500,000 to the water plant after.
Starting from 2023.
Right. So you'll have $1 million of additional cash starting in 2023.
It's fully.
The money coming from the county's redevelopment commission is about $1.5 million a year.
Yep, yeah, I've got that, yeah. Yeah, so by the end of our fiscal year 2025, we'll have netted $6 million that isn't committed in right now, or that we haven't pledged to commit to.
The $1.5 million that's coming from the Honda TIF is currently committed to paying off the bonds.
Yeah, you're
It's
right.
not available to
And
you
I'm not
guys.
counting that.
Okay.
$6 million.
That's it.
So, I mean, we could do it, but, I mean, that's it.
So we
For
really
the next
had-
5 years, it's gonna be Veterans Way, Michigan Avenue.
And it'd be 5 years for this, 4 years for this started, but then, 2-3 years down the road, we would hope that the next plan would be started soon after that. So, I mean, that's the problem, is we've waited, and now we're looking at something 5 years down the road. It'd be nice that 2 years down the road, we start looking at another 5-year project, so we can kind of, because we only have till 2033 in sunset unless some temperature comes up. So
I would-
if we wait till 2025, we might only get one more big project in before sunset's done. We wait every 5 years, so that's kind of been our problem, is that we don't have a plan of action to hit the next one before our money's gone.
The other thing that you you all probably want to do is look at, are there other areas that ought to be TIFed? Or are there things that you should be doing to sustain the redevelopment commission going forward beyond the sunset of the current area? And that may be a part of this planning process.
Yeah.
You need, if these numbers are valid, I hope they are, I intend for them to be, you need $340,000 for 23. That would get this project going
Before one runs,
by 23.
340.
Yeah, that, I'm looking at the right-of-way administration and the preliminary engineering.
Okay.
The right-of-way acquisition or purchasing would probably start in 23.
Okay.
And then utility relocation work would probably start in 25. Construction and construction engineering would probably start in 25.
Yeah, I think that's certainly doable, so I think we can commit to that.
Okay.
Do we need to have a?
I would do it in a motion
Okay.
and commit the funding, I think would be the critical issue. And then Mark and I will figure out who needs to sign the commitment letter. They may want the mayor to do that, I don't recall.
The last commitment letter
They want it from
that
the
you
mayor.
committed funds, I had both the redevelopment commission president
That's right.
and the mayor sign the letter jointly.
So that might be the way to do it.
So I would probably create the same letter, type of letter for this next project.
So, let me just recap one more time. I appreciate you. So for the, our current balance on the Veterans Day bond is $1.5 million, $2 million, about $2 million. Then we anticipate drawing another $1.5 million or $2 million.
About two, probably close to it.
$1 million a year, so, oh, drawing on the bond,
Drawing on the
yes,
bond.
yeah. I think 2 million.
So that's a debt of about $4 million or so.
So in 8 years, you'd pay that off.
So we
That's your current
intend
payment
to
rate,
just
more or
continue
less.
to pay $500,000 a year until it's paid off.
I think that's how it's currently structured.
Yes.
Yeah,
We have
the
to.
payments are not based on the principal on the bond, they're
Right.
based on, if you borrowed the 9.5 million on day one,
Yeah.
then you would make those payments for the life to have it paid off at the end.
Yeah.
But you're paying at an accelerated rate relative to what the balance
It was-
is, the principal.
It was never set up that we only use this amount of money. It was set up that we use all the money. And so that was one of the things that when we had to restructure the sunset date on the bond, that they didn't change the interest, even though we're not borrowing $9.5 million, we asked to borrow.
So if nothing else changes, we'll pay $500,000 into about 2027. And that'll retire the bond.
I would think that'd be getting close,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 28, but
And then we'll need about $340,000 in 2023.
between now and 2023.
Between now and
Which we should have what's coming in, what's in right now during that period.
Let me bump that number up a little bit because there'll be some float. That's your share, but you're gonna pay invoices and get reimbursed, so it's gonna be 400,000.
We should have that 1.6 though, without any other commitments. Payable.
And you just talked about entering into an agreement for professional services.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then, so that $400,000, that's the PE, the construction engineering and right-of-way administration?
No, it's the right of way, it's the PE and the right of way, yes, I'm sorry, yes.
The first two.
The first two. I don't think we'll be down by 23, I think we'll just start to purchase right of way.
So 21, 22 will be the PE and right-of-way administration.
PE will run on into 23 and 24,
And then 23 will start the purchasing.
probably.
And that'll probably take a year. So we'll need that money in here, right?
My crystal ball doesn't work there, Darren. My crystal ball doesn't work there on right of way.
I understand it's an estimate. I
Yeah.
get that. I'm asking when we would pay that.
Oh, We've been a year and a half working on the remaining parcel for Veterans Way
I
Phase
know,
Two,
I know.
so that's my
I did
reluctance.
ask you, yes, you know.
But
yeah.
I would, Mark, do you remember how long it took to acquire the right of way on Lincoln Street?
Yes,
There were 64
there
parcels.
were 64 parcels. We had a majority of them in about the first 90 days once they started. They started in late, I had the spreadsheets on my desk, late '07, and by middle of '08, we had them all.
So maybe a year.
It went really well on that one. There was some condemnation activity on a couple of parcels, but they went fairly quickly.
There were 64 parcels on Lincoln Street, and we're looking at
59 on Michigan
59
Avenue.
on Michigan Avenue.
I believe there was 3 parcels of condemnation out of those 64. 2 of them were through condemnation. The third one was
A friendly condemnation.
it was a trust that was held by a family trust that had made a purchase of real estate. They had an existing contract with a tenant, and the tenant was wanting out. And the way the contract was written, if they altered their parcel by signing over to us, the tenant was free to walk. If the courts altered the parcel, the tenant had to continue paying rent. So they begged us to condemn them on that one. So we only actually had 2 out of the 64.
And then, the final part, the construction, would we do a bond for that? We would just play that straight cash.
Should have the money from the bond, the Honda TIF money, should be the 1 million a
That's all
year.
but that's all our cash.
It's like all of it. It's.
That's all of the Honda money,
It's
but
all
you will
Honda.
still have
It's
your.
all
Then we still
both.
have,
No.
we still have $1 million of our regular TIF.
Yeah, but not really.
No, because we use half of it for paying bond. So we only have 1.5 million each year. We're really using all of it, is what we're trying to say.
In one year, right?
Yeah.
Would that construction be all in 1 year?
I
Yes.
doubt
Yes.
it.
The cost
But
would
the
be in
cost
1
will
year.
all come up front.
Who you asking, which one?
We got 2 answers.
I got a part of maybe on that one.
So yeah, so the cash flow is fine. So between 20 and 22, we'll have about an extra 1 point, and I understand, it's all this, I get it, right? So, but about $1 million extra that we could have. And then in 2023, probably about another $1 million extra we could have. And then 2024, that'd be all of it. All the extra we have would go to Michigan Way. And then 2025, we'd be back to about another 1.5 billion from then on, until the bonds paid off, and then it'll go up to 2 billion. So, I think
So if
I
we
think we
take,
can fund it.
take all that.
Sorry
money-
it took me a long time to get there.
If we take all that between now and then, with everything we have coming in, we're gonna have about 3.6 million between the two, once it's clear before this project's done. So we're only gonna have about 600,000 extra, and that 600,000 has to go to pay, and that's between now and 2025. We're gonna have to use that 600 to pay utility a few more times. And then any other expenses we have with scope is gonna be within that 600,000. That's within 5 years, we're gonna have less than $80,000-$90,000 to work with per year until then.
And you could look at a bond.
But if we're working on scope services, I guess, from our vision, this can be a few. We're really gonna be looking at all of our projects being after 2025.
Yeah.
We had to, because we're not gonna have no
Yeah.
cash.
Well, and also developing a project, if there's federal funds, even state funds, typically it takes 3 to 4 years to get to construction because of the preparatory work, the environmental documentation and all that stuff. It takes some time to plan and develop design and do those things. And for any meaningful project, you probably aren't gonna have it ready for construction before then.
So we're not, so that's, I promise, my last question.
You don't have the last question, you're in charge.
There's still value in doing that project assessment,
I think.
whole project list now.
The reason this came up is because the funding opportunity came up.
Right.
that's
Even though
a
we're not
planning.
going to do anything else.
Yeah,
until
that's a
that
planning
point.
technique, but it's.
We
maybe
might not get it,
the
we might
best.
only get part of it. We might only get.
Might not
6
get
million.
anything, might get a discussion started with NDOT.
We will be cash
No, I
strapped.
mean, that's true. That's absolutely right.
It can be close.
I'm done.
If we could, we could get another phone, so.
I would think that financially that would be something that would be close.
I'd entertain a motion that we commit funding to this.
So move.
Motion by Adam, is there a second?
Wait,
Question,
phase it again.
could you clarify your motion, commit funding to the Michigan Avenue portion?
Yes,
Is that
thank
your
you.
motion?
Yes, just the Michigan Avenue.
Second.
Good, second. Okay. Any discussion on that? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I think that passes 5-0. Those opposed? Yeah, passes 5-0.
Thanks, Ron.
You're not done with me.
Yeah, anyway,
Oh, wait, you're coming back.
Next item, new business. Mr. Hunter, would you come please and
Tell us how much you want.
Remember, I am here, and that counts. I just made that statement. You know, I really understand the position. Unfortunately, it really impacts Greensburg schools, because we lose somewhere between $250,000 and $275,000 a year to the TIF. And the last 3 years, you guys have approved $150,000 payback through payback to us, which really helps tremendously. Our biggest concern is 5 years ago, this wasn't really an issue. But as you know, if you read the paper, educational funding is a huge issue right now. And where it really impacts us the most is in our operations fund. And unfortunately, that's where the majority or all of our technology comes from. I asked Scott to come here just in case you had any questions about our technology in Greensburg schools. We can't recuperate that $275,000 in any manner. We are maxed out. It all gets cut out of our operations fund. That is with the tax caps and the circuit breaker. We lose all that because of the circuit breaker. There are no appeals, there's nothing. We lose essentially $250,000 to $275,000 a year. The problem for Greensburg schools, like most schools, is once those tax caps came in and the circuit breaker came in, that's also when our technology costs skyrocketed. We are 1-to-1 across the district. We spend in the neighborhood of $500,000 a year on technology, and we now have, as of last year, a new thing that comes in and really affects us is that we can't transfer any more than 15% of our monies out of the educational fund into the operations fund without going on a list at the state, and over a period of time, there's going to be some kind of repercussions to that, because supposedly we're not putting it in the classroom, we're using it inappropriately in some way, even though we're paying the bills with it, because we got to turn the lights on, we got to pay the water, we got to have transportation, we have to have the technology that we require to run the system. $150,000 that you've given us over the last 3 years, each year $450,000. That is all, every cent of it has gone to technology costs in the district. And I would tell you, we lost, you hear where everybody's getting extra funding this year from the state. We did not get any extra funding from the state, because everything now is based on enrollment. Our enrollment, like most rural districts, is decreasing. So our funding is going down. So every dollar is very, very important. And I really wanna, and I'm not saying this other than I think everybody needs to know, and I know it's a public meeting, nobody works better with their city than Greensburg Schools works with the city of Greensburg and has over the last 20 years that I've been superintendent. For instance, we gave North Park back to the city for a park. We just gave 10 acres to the city across from the high school for a new park. We gave land to the city and county for the pathways that we have that are used so much by our citizens, and I'm sure in any other project will be part of that too. So, you know, we have a great, I think, historical partnership with the city, and we understand that things are tight. And you made that very, very clear before we walked up here tonight, that the cash flow is an issue. For us, if you have cash flow over the course of 2020, it doesn't matter whether we get it on January 1st or whether we get it on December 31st of 2020, we could use it. Because it will go into the operations fund and be used for technology in Greensburg schools. I think I gave you just a rundown, I have at least in the past, a rundown of where those monies go, what type of projects we spend those monies on. That $150,000 is not the total price, as I said, altogether, including personnel. We spend over $500,000 a year on technology. So with that, I would entertain any questions that you might have about our $150,000 request. Scott also could answer any specific technical questions that you might have.
Since you're here, I'll ask you something. So, what's driving the increase in technology costs?
Well, one of the biggest things is just trying to offer more to the kids, try to increase that curriculum. For instance, one of the things that we did last year with some of the TIF monies was we were able to put in a Z-Space lab that allowed our science department, our art department's also using it. We're looking at some other vocational type items we work with it as a 3D virtual system so they can get into the actual body parts, get down to the cell level, you can see the heartbeats, different things like that from a virtual standpoint. So not necessarily cost going up as far as equipment costs so much as it is just trying to expand what we can offer to the kids and giving them more opportunities, more exposure to different things that's available out there. So, you know, with these monies, one of the things we were able to do with like that lab was we were able to offer a lab that really no other school in our area has available to me at this point. There are very few schools in Indiana. There are some, but in southeastern Indiana, we're one of the first ones to be able to offer that to our kids. And I guess that's, as a technology director, that's what I'm always looking for is how can we enhance the kids' curriculum and their learning, and you know, for a school our size, that makes a lot of challenges when we're looking at those type of projects.
I would tell you also, you know, we seek every opportunity we can to get any type of grant. Right now, we have on the table $190,000 grant attended yesterday up at University of Indianapolis that we are going to be getting over the next 4 years for our early college to provide those opportunities to our kids. We have a $100,000 preschool grant that we just applied for to start preschool next year. You guys all know what the need for that is in our community. And we have a $100,000 grant that we'll be submitting on Friday for computer science and technology across the district. So there's everything that we can do to bring revenue in. You know, we have to try to get, because our funding from the state, it is not going to increase.
I know looking at our funds, right now we don't even have 150,000, but we will be getting
Not for the rest of this year, next year.
here in the next month or so, we'll get property tax.
And remember, this is
funds.
for 2020,
Yeah.
not,
So we get
you've
this
already
next year
funded
sometime.
2019.
So it's not like we have to do anything this evening.
No.
But keep it.
I mean, That's about 900,000 over the next 6 years. If we do those 6 years.
We can only do 3 years at a time, right?
I think it's only 3 years.
And
And quite honestly, you know, we would like 3 years, but we also understand other things that come in, and we'll take 1 year, you know, and then come back again the next year if that's needed too. So you don't have to commit to the whole 3 years. I'm concerned about 2020 right now.
Sure.
And with that, I would also say, when you're talking about tiffing other districts, it absolutely, no matter what you tiff, it's gonna adversely affect us. It's gonna be money right out of our pockets, and that 275,000, if you were to double that TIF area, we're gonna lose $500,000. We're not gonna be adding programs, we're gonna be cutting programs.
Well, ideally, if we could help bring more housing into the area, we're gonna help you slightly more than currently with nothing on nothing, right?
Right, but the
Okay.
problem with it is
'Cause we don't wanna
bringing the housing into the area.
Sure.
I've been on those committees for the last 15 years, and I haven't seen a dramatic increase in that housing in the last 15 years, and that's been a conversation. And quite really, the real increase in AV, and we had a slight increase in AV this year for the school system. All of that was through the extra housing that we had. At the AV for houses, it takes a lot of houses to make a big difference
Yeah.
to counteract that TIF district and the dollars that you lose in that area.
So with Veterans Way, there was no houses there, no, there wasn't anything there. We're dumping $6 million into it as consumers to try to bring more taxes in, so.
I
how much
totally
have you
understand all
lost?
you guys, and I appreciate it, and I totally agree with you. For a community our size, the only way we're gonna get growth is through TIF districts. I'm
Right.
just saying, please be careful with that,
Right.
because
Why
it
don't
does
we
adversely
TIF?
affect us.
We wouldn't TIF current areas, we're more TIFing areas that there is no tax base right now per se. I mean, cornfields don't make you a whole lot of money, but hopefully Marriott hotels do.
Absolutely.
And so I think I don't think the school's gonna go build a road to bring in more money, where I think we're tasked to put in that road, bring the money, pay off our investment essentially, and then when we're done with it, we're done, and the money goes to the city, to the schools, tremendously more than what a current cornfield would bring.
The one thing, keep in mind historically across the state, TIF districts that are supposed to end in a certain period of time usually don't end in a certain period of time. So, you know, I'm concerned about our overall AV. The only way to bring our overall AV up is to TIF and bring in new businesses and homes and everything to the community. So I fully understand, fully support it. I just want you to be aware that we're on a very fixed income.
Sure.
So as this is a public meeting.
Everybody's on a fixed income.
Right. As this is a public meeting, are the large corporations in this area that are asking you for your students to have better technological advancement, are they supporting your initiative?
Absolutely.
As much as like maybe be necessary, so you wouldn't have
No.
to seek other, okay.
No. We honestly do
If I had
not,
$1 billion, I'd give it to you.
we honestly do not go out and solicit
Yeah.
an awful lot. We use the people and the resources when they're available. But, you know, I'm in constant contact almost weekly with all of our local industry and business, and they don't have the monies that they're passing out for schools or anyone else, quite honestly. So, you know, we use them in the capacity that we can. At some point, we're gonna have to ask the Honda TIF district as well for some funding, because we would qualify. We are within that district, our school district is, and quite honestly, as the largest school district in that district, we do have some.
As any of your students can come from anywhere at this point, yeah, I
So
definitely don't think
we
that's
seek
not
all
possible.
funding that we can get.
Yeah.
Sure.
No,
We-
yeah, I'm not saying.
We very
that
much
they're all just-
appreciate what the redevelopment commission has done for us in the past. We would ask you to continue that. If you don't, we'll be back again, so.
David, would you entertain a motion tonight?
to commit for next year? You know, what we said we've done for this year, but I think we can commit to next year.
Yeah, I don't, you know, I think because we're still sort of in flux with these,
Yeah.
with the Michigan Avenue project and with our project planning, I'd only commit to next year right now until we can get a better sense of what our cash flows are gonna be. So I would make a motion to commit to $150,000 in 2020 fiscal year.
Is there a second? Motion dies for lack of a second. We can revisit in January, February.
So I just would like to say that my concern of tomorrow's meeting is just more, I'd like, look at what we have to deal with tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying no, and I would, it's more of a, I would like to know what happens tomorrow for us, which could be
Yeah.
one way or another before.
I would like to see if we can
So
table
like,
this in
yeah, till
January,
January.
February, once we
Yeah.
know
Okay.
a little bit more information about some financial, we have some financial costs that may come up tomorrow, or in the very near future that may impact our balance, so I think that's.
I'm not about writing that checks, I'm not sure if we have to check.
Yeah, I would say I fully support our schools. I have 3 kids there and another one on the way, and I sure would like if we gave more than $150,000, but anyway.
Thank you very much, and would you like for me to come back in January or February, or
If needed.
Yeah.
just let me know when the meeting is and I'll be back?
We appreciate it. Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you for the information.
Next item, update of project status for Veterans Way, Phase 2. Mr. May.
As we've heard too often, not a lot to report. Process is moving forward. I think I told you a month ago, hope to have some conclusion in 60, 90 days. Now I hope to have some conclusion in 30 to 60 days. There is one event on the horizon. There is mediation scheduled in early December, and I've lost track of the date. I think it was the 19th.
I thought it was the 7th and the 13th.
Those dates would change.
So you all need to designate an individual or individuals that can represent the city's position in the mediation.
I've planned, and I'd be happy to be designated to.
I think that was what we planned to.
Yeah.
And the remainder of that is you probably want to hold an executive session to discuss the mediation philosophy
And
prior to then.
our next meeting is that evening, the 19th, but should we have an executive session?
I think soon, so that the mediator, the designee has some guidance.
So are all other originally slated meetings now canceled to only be on the 19th?
No,
Is that how it went?
no, this is just multiple paths.
You want it, when should we meet then?
Would we want early December?
It's next Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I don't
sounds
have
good.
anything, I don't have any work scheduled that day, so.
How soon does it need done? How soon do you need a meeting?
A couple weeks ahead of that, would be okay?
Yeah,
There's
a day it
about
might be
2 weeks
okay.
ahead of time.
So we're
Probably
looking
the
at.
first week of December.
That way, if there's questions that come up in your executive session, there's time to get answers.
Or any of the early December.
So first week of December, I couldn't be here that Monday at the city council meeting. Or that Thursday.
Would Tuesday the 3rd, Wednesday the 4th work for anyone?
Maybe back in the 4th, or Friday.
Wednesday or Friday?
That could be covered, but not
The 4th does not work for you.
I
Could Wednesday, December 4th work?
What time? Hey, good answer.
I could make probably 5:30.
You would have to move the city.
Could you make it 5:30? Like on Wednesday, December 4th, 5:30?
Chris may do.
Yeah.
I could not,
Yeah. Wednesday, December 4th, 5:30 then for executive session. Okay. All right.
The other item, Mark has some information on the financial going on from some claims that we've been able to file, Mark has been able to file with the state for reimbursement. And
Okay.
I'll let him present that to you.
Okay.
As you recall, last, I don't know, September, October, we exhausted the right-of-way funds that were given to us by the Indiana Department of Transportation. And earlier this year, we were fortunate enough to obtain an additional $847,000 on a new PO. It took quite a while for it to get processed through the state, but here 6 weeks ago, we got them all submitted. And if you notice in the lower right column, that money has just about all arrived back. The red number in the lower right-hand corner of $222,191 has been received back to the city clerk treasurer in the last few days. It does not reflect in your account yet that all the EFTs go into the county general account, and I helped them work through as to where they came from so that they can return those back to you.
Does that go straight to the bond?
No. The first one is the only one that was paid for the bond, with the bond funds. The $158,000, that was the balance of the 4040 LLC property acquisition. All the rest of them you paid out of your 802 account, so they can go in there and stay there.
Did we designate that money already to go back to the bond in October?
Per our contract, I believe your bond you have says you have to give reimbursement back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that 158,732.09 has to go back. The balance of it you can go into 802.
Bring Tom back. Bring Tom back.
The last one was one that I just got the canceled check, payment 17. It has been submitted to NDOT, and the remaining 4 you see down there are claims that you have in front of you tonight. I'm already ready to submit those as quickly as possible. Another bit of good news. Somehow, this $847,000 we received, that's what we estimated our costs were going to be. And we got funding at that level. Something went wrong in the system with NDOT, and I got another PO for 80% of the 80%, which I didn't apply for. Through several conversations, they told me they would have to close that PO out. I said we were in condemnation, and they're actually holding that PO open for you as we conclude the last right-of-way parcel.
So how much?
Don't even ask, it's just 80% of 80%. I have a PO right now for about $600,000 additional money
Okay.
for right-of-way.
Additional.
Mhm.
And nobody's gonna snatch it away from us.
And it was going to be closed out, and the LPA director said, no, let's just leave it open in case they need it.
Awesome.
So,
Okay.
depending on how activities go, there's a little more cushion than we first anticipated, so
Are the bearer of good news.
Good job, Mark. Way to screw it up.
don't blame me. Hey, let's thank NDOT for making a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not clawing it back.
Yeah.
So the other 22 on this will come back in 802. when it's said and done with the last 1, 2, 3, 6.
Yeah, the last 4 or 5, yes, there's another 22 that will also go back into
Okay.
802 if you pay those bottom 4 that you have tonight out of 802.
The 222 won't come back to 802.
No.
222 minus 158, 732.
Right.
Right,
will come back.
but he's subtracting the 2 net numbers and coming up $22,000 more than
Additional.
additional.
We haven't got yet.
Yeah, so
Yes.
but for that to happen, these 4 claims tonight you have to pay on your 802.
Okay.
Do we have
And
that as
Yeah.
something that we do we need to make a motion separate from the
We're,
claims?
we're gonna get to that.
You'll get to the claims in a little bit, but that's where you're at financially on this portion.
That's good news.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Does that conclude everything then for this, that item, discussion of Veterans Way?
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay, how about we move to discussion of Indiana Department of Health preparation of community-wide bicycle and pedestrian master plan.
It came to our attention recently, and I had sent you all an email that presented the 2019 grant funding announcement for the preparation of community-wide bicycle and pedestrian master plans through the Indiana State Department of Health. This is a potential grant for preparing a bicycle and pedestrian master plan for the city. It is not for construction or design or anything like that. The grant is a 50-50 arrangement where we would have to pay 50% of the cost of developing the plan. However, the grants are capped for a community our size at $10,000. So if we could get a grant for, get a master plan developed for 20,000, we'd pay 10. If we get a master plan developed for 30,000, we pay 20.
Wouldn't there be, isn't there a time crunch deadline? Do I
Yes.
remember a time crunch deadline?
The applications are due December the 19th. It's going to be a busy day.
I, that doesn't seem practical.
I have solicited,
David, my thoughts are that if we're working on scope services, can we find better funding for this somewhere else? Can they find better funding somewhere else? I mean, you know, I'm the big cheerleader, so,
This is just funding to pay for,
the plan, yeah, I get it, but can we find somebody to find more funding for the plan?
I mean, we have some trails on our project list today. I mean, that's already gonna be roped into what we're gonna be doing.
the potential value of this, I suspect, is as an aid in seeking funding for construction development of specific projects, to show that the community is proactive in managing. We've got a number of, I think, very good projects identified in terms of trails.
But I mean, isn't this what we just motioned to hire an agriculture voice to help us with, more than likely, after David and I meet with you?
It's conceivable that, I don't know what the selection criteria for the State Board of Health is, but they could conceivably make this part of their services.
So you mean like to pay for part of the what, American Structure Fund? I guess I don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah, depending on how the scope of service is developed, maybe we have a scope of services and we have sub-item A, and that's develop a multi-use master plan, or a pedestrian bicycle master plan, and that's part of what they do, but we get $10,000 assistance from the State Board of Health if we're selected. I don't know. Y'all are interested in trails, so I brought it to you.
To me, it doesn't seem like a short time we have as far as.
It's not. I don't know, one of the things I had sent you, the application is simply answering vetting questions. It's not an intense application. I've talked with Brian Robbins. He has, as I think we're all aware, great interest in this kind of thing, and he has agreed to help put this together. We simply need somebody that can afford to and is willing to pay for the local share and have a legitimate interest in doing this.
So what he said was if a part of our plan with the scope of services was to include master plan
have.
Just have structure point do this.
Added to the scope.
We would have to do it
We don't
again.
have time to have American Construction Point do this at this point, do we?
Well, I think we can get the application.
Look at the application.
Yeah, we don't need to pay American Construction Point to do this. And it goes with.
If we are successful in achieving the grant, then we can think about
Yeah.
selecting them to do the planning.
Oh, well, I mean, might as well apply to this A, since we're not committing it.
I'd entertain a motion to prepare this plan, complete this application to the plan.
And more work.
Thank you, Ken.
Second.
Second by Jody. Any other discussion?
We need to commit any money right now to this now, okay?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Any other discussion? We have a motion made and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now we're to approval of claims. We have 5 claims this evening. The first one was what Jason was addressing us initially at the meeting for $9,790. And then there's 4 more claims, and on the sheet Mark just gave us, it's got the dollar amount. There's a $3,017.50 from Landman Beatty Attorneys, $3,798.50 from Landman Beatty. Also $9,753.50 from Landman Beatty. And then American Structure Point has a bill of $1,049.89.
I do not have that paper.
The one Mark just handed out.
This one. So the bottom 4
Yeah.
numbers?
Yes.
For all land and vacant.
No.
No,
The 3, 3, and 9 are land and baby, the 1,000 is structure point.
Thank
the
you.
1,049 is American Structure Point.
Got it.
Hey, we went back in there, you go.
Are we wanting to do 802 for all these?
Comes right back to 802, right? Reimbursement on 802?
A lot of it does.
If you pay out of 802, it'll be reimbursed at
All
802.
these, okay.
80% of it.
Or 80% of it will be.
Move to pay all out of
With,
it.
yes, the structure.
I'm sorry, Jared, you made a motion to pay the bill? Pay these bills, is there a second? Thank you, Ken, I'm sorry. Any other discussion? If not, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
What about the one we need to get back to? Got that?
That's why it's
Okay.
So Mark, do we need to, Mark, do we need to turn around then and make a motion to pay back this $158,732?
That you do need to do so that that is,
If you'll approve that, we can surely process the claim after the fact.
yes.
And do you
Okay.
need the minutes for this immediately, tomorrow?
No.
the bank?
No, I don't think we need the minutes to actually pay them back,
We can
Only
pay them
when
back.
we need
only
it.
to make a draw.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's for the amount of $158,732.09. Go back to the bank to pay.
My motion that we pay the bank.
Second.
Motion made by Jody, seconded by Darren. Any discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. That looks like that's all our claims. Our next meeting is scheduled for December 19th. We can maybe discuss at our executive session if we need to have that meeting or not. But for now, we'll tentatively plan for December 19th. If there's no other discussion, we'll adjourn our meeting. Thank you all for coming.